All right, so I am so excited to meet with all of you guys. Hello, everyone, and I think I know everyone on here, or everyone on here has seen me, but if not, my name is Stephanie, and I am the creator of Team Healthier You, as I like to say it. It is January 25th. And so I want to thank all of you so much for coming on this evening on our call. As you all know, every Monday night at 8:45 Eastern time, you can find us all of us here connected, coming together to learn and come together in fellowship to kind of grow our business, but also kind of grow ourselves as well. So I have a couple quick announcements before I hand it over to Chaundel, who's going to be speaking with us today. I'm so excited. I know she has her inspiration from a really great book that I also have been reading. So a couple quick announcements. We have one more week, if not less than a week, left in the month. So for all of you who are working towards Success Club, which honestly it should be the main goal on all of you guys, especially for my new coaches, one thing you should know is that this, for example, this summer, every year there's a national convention with Beachbody. This summer it will be in Nashville in July. And so if you hit Success Club 5 in your first 3 months of a coach, so let's say you signed up this month, you would have this month as well as next month. So let's say you hit it this month, you would then have to hit it January, February, March. But let's say you signed up this month and you don't hit it this month, but you hit it in February. If you hit it February, March, April, either way, you qualify for a free ticket to Summit. And so this is an almost $300 value. It is going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing event. We probably have at least 40 to 50 of our team going. I remember when it was just like me and like two of my coaches like 2 years ago. So lots of growth. I'm super excited. And in terms of that, many of you may have seen that, or maybe many of you have not, but Stephanie Rowland has actually took the initiative to create a summit group. So if you're not in that, I'll have her post the link to that again this evening so that you guys can see it. But basically it's a group that will just kind of discuss kind of housing, discuss what the details are for around Summit. I'm expecting a lot of you guys to room together to help with cost. And so just kind of keeping that in mind, especially because it's soon. It'll be here before you know it. It'll be July and we'll be all partying in Nashville. So it'll be a lot of fun. So again, Success Club. So Success Club is super important. You know, one thing, I was just in LA. A lot of you guys saw that I was just in LA for a leadership conference, surrounded by all brand new leaders who were Star Diamond and above, including speaking with the top coach, Melanie Mitro, as well as other top coaches, Bonnie Engel and Michelle Myers. You guys have not heard of Michelle Myers. She's an awesome, we call her Beachbody old. She's been around since almost Beachbody started. She is a woman. Her husband's a pastor. She's a woman of faith. She's a fantastic person for a lot of you guys to follow, especially a lot of you who are really strong in your faith and look to see how you can incorporate that into your Beachbody business. Michelle Myers, she has a great Instagram account, and she's more on Instagram, but she has a great Facebook page. But either way, all of them just stressed the importance of Success Club. At the end of the day, that is our benchmark. That is how we know we are inviting, we're at least growing by 3 every single month. And a lot of you see me as someone of success, know that I've hit Success Club 30 months in a row. So if it's kind of like telling you what is it that you need to be successful? It's Success Club. And Success Club, again, is for every challenge pack that you sell to a brand new customer, you get 2 points. That is what you basically, yes, Michelle Myers, exactly, just felt like that. Perfect. She has a great Instagram account, so definitely check her out. And let me know what you think. Just kind of message me or post and let me know what you think. But, oh my God, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so challenge packs. So challenge packs are, for every challenge pack that you sell to a new customer, you get 2 points. And so ideally every month you should be aiming to sell 3 challenge packs. And really the way that I think about it is that you're really changing lives. I mean, how many of you, raise your hand, have been affected in a positive way by being a part of this community? Even if just emotionally, or not even just physically, but just emotionally. Look, everyone's hands, if not all of you guys, are saying that you have. And I know, after I've brought on hundreds of people, I brought on hundreds of people into this team. I've seen many people come on. It really changes their life just being a part of this community. So definitely make it a goal of yours that every single month you're inviting people, just getting them on board to that healthy living. Super, super important. So this month is the 21-day fix. 21-day fix extreme on sale for $140 with 30 days of Shakeology, as well as hammer and chisel on sale for $160 with 30 days of Shakeology. Remember, guys, you also always have, if someone just wants Shakeology, you also always just have the 3-day refresh. You know, that is something that you can say, hey, you want Shakeology only? Well, try the 3-day refresh challenge pack. That is only $140 combined. The reason why challenge packs are so awesome is because Shakeology by itself is $130 for just 30 days of Shakeology. So challenge packs give you the Shakeology, which is nutrition, the workout, which is, you know, in itself awesome, as well as the support. So it's a complete package. And honestly, like when you think about it, it's like if you were to just buy the 21-day fix, that's $60. If you buy Shakeology, that's $130. That's pre-shipping and pre-taxes. Together, that's $140. And so already there's a huge amount of savings behind challenge packs, which is why we recommend those from the very beginning. A couple of things. Also, Team Cup. Who has registered for a Team Cup? If not, you definitely want to become a part of one. They're really awesome. They're basically teams of 5. And so the idea is that you'll have 5 of you in a team, and you guys will be competing against other teams of 5 throughout the network for prizes. And it's based on Success Club. Again, like I said, just talking about Success Club until I turn blue. So it's based on Success Club, and basically the team with the most points will win the top prizes, 3 top prizes. And then even if you hit, like, I think Success Club 40 as a team, that's not you by yourself, that's as a team between the 5 of you, and you hit Success Club yourself, there are prizes going around all, you know, for just 40, you know, at the level of 40 Success Club points. So definitely make sure that you're involved in one. If you're not, push yourself. And if you're nervous, push yourself. Again, remember, guys, a lot of you guys are new coaches. Remember that the best way to learn this business, the best way to grow this business is by doing it. You have to stay consistent. You have to show up every single day to your store. Your Facebook is your store. So think about it. If you had a storefront and you did not show up to open that door, you're not going to be able to influence anybody. You're not going to make any sales. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. You have to show up every single day. And if you're showing up on this call, it's because there's something in you that's saying, stick with this. There's something, it's not just me telling you to stick with this. There's something in here, within you saying, there's something more here. And I see other people just like me who are having success. Why not me? And honestly, that's the truth. It's why can't you have the same success as me? Honestly, all I have over you is time and showing up every single day, no matter what. So with that said, if I think of anything else, I'll tell you guys by the end. And if you guys have any other questions, remember, I'm always here at the end of the call for Q&A. This is obviously a safe zone there's never any stupid questions. You can ask all types of questions here. So just leave them for the end of the call. And I'm always happy to stay for as long to kind of answer any questions. So just kind of keep them in mind as you're kind of going through. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Chaundel. I'm so excited to hear your call, Chaundel. Chaundel is an Emerald coach. She's been with me for not a full year, maybe like half a year, or about half a year. But one thing that you'll see, guys, is you'll see an initiative of new coaches, kind of new leaders, as I call them, new leaders rising. I really want to encourage leadership on our team, and the best way to lead is by doing these calls. And so Chaundel is taking the initiative, and I'm super excited to hear her speak. I'm going to unmute you, and I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, so I think I just share my screen, right? And then I can bring up this share screen. All right, hello everyone. I'm really super excited to share with you all tonight. The team's brought so much to my life, and I love being a part of a team. And so I'm just hoping that tonight I'm able to encourage you all just with where I'm at. I'm going to share a little bit of my own story tonight, and mostly I'm going to be sharing from the book I'm reading for personal development that I've really latched onto for the beginning of my year. And so I'm just calling the team call just start for this evening. And so hopefully I can successfully do my keynote PowerPoint. Here's my confession. I managed to graduate from a 4-year university without ever having made a PowerPoint, ever. So this is my first one, and you guys get to be my test group for my very first PowerPoint. So it should be pretty exciting. So, So John Acuff wrote a book called Punch Fear in the Face and Escape Average, Do Work That Matters, Just Start. And I felt like when I saw that, and it was on sale through, he works with Dave Ramsey, who does Financial Peace, and I get his emails, and it was on sale just before Christmas, and I was like, I've got to do this. This is where I'm at. I was really struggling, and I'll be sharing a little bit more with you guys about that later on. But I was in a really tough place, and I was like, I need this. I need this so much. And so I just bought the book. It was like $7, and it's been worth every penny and more. And it's been a perfect way to start my year, no pun intended. And I just wanted to share a little bit with you about how much it's helped me where I was at. And as Stephanie said, I have been coaching just over 6 months, and I'm an Emerald, and I actually haven't been working the business for that long. I took a little bit of a break, and I'll share with you why and what happened and where I'm at now. And hopefully it will encourage you all. So here we go. So the book kind of starts out explaining that there's 5 stages of life as far as learning a craft or a business, and they've always been kind of tied to an age of your life. So the first one is learning, which has always conventionally been your 20s. The second is editing, which is in your 30s. And then in your 40s, it's the mastering of your craft. And then 50s would be harvesting what you've worked so hard for, and 60s is kind of guiding other people into what you've been doing for most of your life. But, and this is the Lost Coast, by the way. These pictures, the first picture was my husband and I backpacking, which is a part of my story that I'll share with you. And then this is the Lost Coast in Northern California where we live. It's really hard to get up here and take this picture, so enjoy it. I worked hard for that. And so here's the Lost Coast, and it's part of my story, and I wanted to share that with you as well. So there's the 5 stages in life, and John Acuff kind of introduces what he calls game changers for our generation. There's so many things like the internet and just how globally connected we are that kind of changes those stages in life being tied to a certain age. He says age is no longer the primary factor, which is kind of exciting for us because it means these stages will kind of overlap, and some will come earlier and some may come later, but you're not necessarily destined to never master anything until your 50s, let's say, which is pretty cool because sometimes you feel like, you're never going to get there, but his book is really encouraging about that. He says life is now less about how old you are and more about when you decide to live, which was really encouraging to me because after college, I was like, well, now what am I going to do with my life? I wasn't necessarily as driven as Stephanie was, or people who are doctors and they know I'm going for this and I'm going to do this. And my degree is in creative writing. And so far writing poetry has not paid my college loans. So I was like, what am I going to do? And here I am out of college so many years later thinking, well, I'm getting towards the end of my 20s. Have I missed it? Am I never going to get there kind of a thing? But if you make a decision to start, then it changes everything. So one thing I want to add in here that may come up again later was something that I've really been blessed to be struggling with this weekend I say that in a good way. And Stephanie called me out on it. And she Facebook messaged me and I was showing her the stuff I was really struggling and to create Facebook ads, and I was just over it. And she called me out and about being myself. So I wanted to add a little bit about being your own mold and not trying to fit into something else that you think you have to do for your craft. Say you want to be a doctor, so you feel like you have to live in this place or dress this way or talk this way or whatever it is. And for me, I was like, well, I'm going to be a coach. And so I was trying to look like these people that were inspiring me, but that wasn't who I was. And I was not sharing my faith and sharing my passions and things that were really most important to me. And it was obvious, why I'd been failing in this, because I was trying to start, but I wasn't starting being myself. So I just wanted to put that little note in there for me to, as you're going after whatever it is you're going after as a coach, but I also feel like this relates to everything in life, to just remember to be yourself. Create your own mold, and don't feel like you have to fit into a certain box in order to make it to the next step. So he says, regardless of your age or station in life, it all comes down to one simple truth. You just have to start. Don't think that where you are is limiting you. You're actually in control of whether you're starting or not. So we're going to get to that here. One thing he also talks about in the book that has meant a lot to me, that I've been kind of meditating on, processing, he talks about living with purpose. And one of the things he says, the quotation is here, he says, forget finding a purpose. He says it's a never-ending story that will leave you empty. He says live with a purpose instead. And I've been thinking about that a lot. And there's really a big difference between finding your purpose, like if you're searching for something you're never going to find, and choosing to live with purpose right now. So there's a quotation from the book. As an English major, I will do what I do best and read to you just a little bit, that I really liked and kind of brings this home. And I wanted to get this point across to you, and then I'll share with you some of these pictures and what they mean to me, how it's part of my story. But John Acuff writes, that's the first secret about purpose. The door's been open the whole time. Push the door open and take the next step into awesome. The second secret about purpose is that it usually finds you. Purpose is attracted to motion. Purpose is attracted to momentum. Purpose loves to surprise you mid-stride. Very rarely will it greet you on your front doorstep. More often than not, you'll encounter purpose in the middle of the road when you least expect it. So start. The door has always been open. And I love that because, he's like, it's not just going to come knock on your door and find you. You've got to do something. And then you'll start living, with a purpose. And it's not like you're going to discover it someday in this aha moment. And you might, but it shouldn't keep you from starting. He says the key to finding your purpose is to start living with purpose now. And for me, like an example of that is something that's so huge that you're like, I don't know where to start. I could never make a difference here. I could never do something about this. And for me, that's human trafficking. And I have a heart for social justice. And these pictures are really significant to me. My husband and I work with a nonprofit called Hope's Gate. And they work to rescue girls from human trafficking and work with girls that have come out of prostitution. And they have a motto, Hope's Gate does, called Love the One. And I love that because it's a problem with, millions. You look at numbers and you're like, I could never make a difference. I could never do anything about this. But if you love the one person right in front of you, you are making a difference and you are impacting them. And so for really, really big things, if you can just start with one person, start with one thing. If you want to write a book, write a page. If you want to end obesity in America, start with one person, start somewhere. And if you want to see an end to human trafficking, rescue one girl, love one child. Don't just feel like the problem's so big you could never do anything about it. But if you choose to live with purpose, you will. It's like if you just start living with purpose, you will be living with purpose instead of sitting around wondering, what's my purpose? What am I going to do about this? And never starting to live that. So that's something I wanted to share with you guys to love the one and just start living with purpose. So start today, he says in the book. Start right where you are and start on what matters to you. And so I feel like it was just huge. I feel like you read that and you're like, well, duh, those are really simple things to read and to say, but it was huge to me. And if you take the time to think about it and step back and ask how you can apply that to your life, it really leaves no excuses except for when you're struggling with fear, which I was, and I do, and I'm going to address right now, which he does in the book. So at the bottom here, I have the 2 lies that fear tells us constantly, and he addresses those in the book as well. So when you're about to start doing something and you're going to step out, fear will tell you, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And then it will also tell you the opposite. Do it all at once, do it all at once, do it all at once. And both of those things are paralyzing. They keep you from stepping out and starting to do something. And I feel like that's something that our generation really struggles with, is a fear of commitment and a fear of stepping out and starting to do things that actually matter. And so there's 2 pictures here that just from my own life, and they're both of my husband and I. The one in the right-hand corner is when we both ran our first 5K, and neither one of us were really runners, and they were doing this 5K to raise money for girls coming out of human trafficking, and they were hosting them all over the country. But of course, we live in a really remote area, so they weren't, it was like, well, let's just host one. We're going to do it. And so we signed up to host one, and we signed up to do it, and we got a bunch of people to do it with us. We got like 50, 60 people to do it with us. And we just did it. We stepped out and we chose to do it, even though it was really scary. And I don't think my husband had ever run before, ever. But we did it. And it was a really, really neat experience just to see, by stepping out, how many people you could get involved and how much of a difference you could make. And the second one is the larger picture here is on the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and that's the spot where my husband proposed to me and asked me to marry him. And when I think back to that moment, I would be lying if I didn't say I hesitated to answer for like 2 seconds, which is what fear does to you. It keeps you from the things you love the most, the things you want to do the most, because committing to something and starting something new is scary. But it's always worth it. And it's worth it to step out and to say yes. And even when you don't know where it's going to end or where you're going to go from there, it's always worth it. And so these were some examples I wanted to share with you guys. So that's the remedy to those fears or the lies that fear tell you, is to just start. Just do it anyways, and then you'll prove those fears wrong. And another thing that he talks about in the book that was very convicting to me, he says to dream honestly, and he talks about knowing where you're at. And it was hard for me because sometimes we want to either pretend that our situation is completely different than it actually is. Or we live in this fantasy world, so we never actually do anything about changing it. And, you might tell like as an example, you're like, oh, I'm posting every day and, I'm inviting people and, but you're not really doing everything that you could be doing, or, you're talking to people, but you're not actually asking them to join you. And, so he talks about being really honest about where you're at. And he gives the example of, looking at a map, and a map does you no good if you don't know where you are on that map. When you punch into your GPS, the first thing it has to know is where you are in order to give you good directions. And so as you're about to start something, he talks about being really, really honest about where you're at. So let me see if I have my next quotation in here. So on Dream Honestly, I wanted to share this with you as well, because he explains it a lot better than I can. But it was one of the most convicting parts of the book to me so far. And so he says, to be brutally realistic when you answer the question, from the first chapter, where am I right now? Answering that question honestly is critical to your career and maybe even your whole life. He says to avoid the temptation to believe that being honest about your current reality is somehow not the right way to dream big. He says, don't you dare be like my friends who say, I've got $100,000 in student loans, but I'm going to just pretend those don't exist and instead just dream about the future. Honestly, look at where you currently are in life. And he says, so that you can turn your present situation into a platform that you can jump from instead of a prison that will hold you back. He says, if you've got big bills, make big sacrifices at the start. He says this will not be easy because the world's definition of dreaming is exactly the opposite. People will say things like, step out in faith or follow your dreams and the universe will open doors for you where there were only walls. He says those kinds of ideas make for amazing mugs, but have a pretty horrible success rate. At best, those ideas are code for don't make any plans, and at worst, they are code for abandon your current commitments. And I just felt like that was really real to me and where I was at, and just struggling with where I was at and being able to start from where I'm at. Because you feel like you have to be at a certain place before you can start, and that is also a lie. That will keep you from moving forward in your business, in your life, in relationships, in anything. So I'm going to share with you just a little bit about my story in Beachbody, and I hope that some of you will be able to relate to it. Personally, I came to a point in my life as a teenager where I grew up with my dad who has diabetes and who had a heart attack and triple bypass surgery and a lot of cancer in my family. So those things are in my family. And as I started growing up, I became aware of that. And I decided that even if I was the only one in my family, I was going to be the one to run in my family. I was going to change the way I ate. I was going to change what I did because I didn't, want to just be like everybody else or not do anything to prevent those things in my life. So that's a little bit about what kind of got me into playing sports and got me interested in being more active and changing the way I ate even before Beachbody. So here I am as an Emerald coach, 6 months in. And I honestly really only was working the business for the first 3 or 4 months. And because I played a lot of contact sports, and I had a lot of injuries. I played soccer and I actually played men's lacrosse, which is a whole nother story. And I surfed and I had a lot of injuries that I'm kind of paying for that now. At 28 years old, I'm dealing with a lot of issues that most 28-year-olds may not have to deal with. And so I was training for another 5K. I just started running again on top of Beachbody workouts, and I was trying to be, extra motivated and get some people to join me in what I was doing. And I ended up hurting my leg and coming to find out that my pelvis is out of place and it's just a big mess. So I was basically put on bed rest for a while and I couldn't do anything. So I went from, running and working out every day to laying on flat on my back, not able to do anything. And I talked to Stephanie a little bit. I talked to Luke and they were so awesome and encouraging. And I kind of tried to keep that momentum going inside myself, but emotionally I kind of shut down and I didn't use that obstacle as an opportunity like I wish I would have. So coming back into it, I just kind of picked up again after Christmas and said, you know what, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And I feel like, restart, starting over again. And it's really, really hard to pick up momentum. And but I wanted to encourage you, all of you, to share the hard things. I know a lot of people say that, but it's really hard to do. It's hard to share the things that hurt. It's hard to share the hard stuff. But if you're able to do that and also share the hope that you have in your heart, that's what people need to hear. That's what people will connect with, because everybody's going through a struggle, and some people will relate to yours. So if you can be brave enough to do that and to step out, it's going to be worth it. It was actually at a humbling moment when I had, disappeared from Facebook and Instagram, because during this time like I said, I kind of shut down. I was struggling physically. Then we were in a car accident and a bunch of other things happened, and I just really stepped back, and I wish I hadn't. And I had a humbling moment when a girl had been following me on Instagram, and we're sort of friends, but I don't really know her that well. And she sent me a message, and she's like, "Hey, I haven't seen you posting. Like, are you okay?" And I was like, wow, people are paying attention. They really are, like, noticing what I'm doing, and that I was on every day. And it's so much to the fact that, she was actually concerned about me. And she was like, "Where have you been?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, sorry." And so now I'm back, I want to say, and starting this year strong, and deciding that I'm not going to let any obstacle not be an opportunity from now on. But building momentum, and like picking up forward motion, it really is hard. It is not an easy thing to do, which is why I love that we're on a team and we can encourage one another to go forward with that. I just wanted to share one last thing from the book here on that. That note of starting, because sometimes we feel like I said, like a problem is too huge, or that there's no way that we could accomplish this, or we live in a fantasy world where we wish we'd accomplished it and we never do anything about it. But in the book, he writes that the starting line is the only line you completely control. The start is the only moment that you are the boss of. He says the finish, don't kid yourself, that's months, if not years, away. You're going to meet dozens of people who are going to impact how you finish. You're going to have countless opportunities, experiences, and challenges that dot the map of awesome that you are following. There are cliffs and rivers and jungles you can't begin to fathom. You are going to stand on a mountaintop that is better than anything you ever dreamed, and laugh at the idea that you thought you could plot out your finish. But the start, he says, you own that, son. That's yours. And I really love that it's something that you have the opportunity and the chance to take control of. It's your choice. You can choose to start. Choose to start now, choose to start right where you are, and choose to start on what matters to you. And that's your choice. You have complete control over how you start. Who knows what's going to happen along the way in life? It's not always going to be easy, but you can choose to start and to build that momentum and to move forward with your dreams and your goals. And so that's what I really wanted to leave you guys with. The last note I have there is, in all of this, I'm preaching to myself, along with you, that I need this just as much as you do. And so I just wanted to add, because I always need to hear this, to have grace for yourself. I tend to, different personality types, but I tend to like create stress as a way to propel myself forward. But it's like, you take on the burdens of the world. You want to help all these people, and I'll go to bed at night thinking, I didn't post enough, I failed, and nobody said yes today, and I failed. And you take that on, and because moving forward is hard, and it takes a lot. But if you take that on, I just want to say, don't believe the lies. There will always be those lies in your head, and the doubts about yourself, and the doubts that others have about you. And I just want to say, don't take on the stress of the world, because they're not from God. They're not the truth. And if you listen to them, they will affect you. They will hold you back. They will keep you, like they kept me for the past 3 months from doing anything that I was living for, that I wanted to do. So honestly, just don't listen to the lies. They're all lies from the pit of hell. So you tell them to go right back where they came from and move on with your life. And so that's kind of where I've been, where I'm at with Beachbody, and I'm excited about where I'm going to go with all of you as my team. So I forgot. The last thing I have then is one of my favorite quotations from Winston Churchill. And he says, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal, but it is the courage to continue that counts." And so I really held on to that as I've, struggled with both success and failure at different points in my life. But knowing that the courage to start something new and the courage to keep going in life is what's going to get you there. So I'll just end with get the book, read the book. There's a lot of interactive stuff in there that will help you for personal development, help you build your business, help you build yourself. And I think that's the most valuable thing that you can do. So I don't know if there's any questions, but that's all I got.
Awesome. Unshare your screen so that I can see if there's any questions. That was really, really awesome. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it. So I actually have read this book as well. I actually have listened to it on Audible. So for all of you who have Audible, it is also a great option. I wonder if I can.
Sorry, I'm trying to stop it for some reason.
Did you?
I see it, but it's not letting my mouse go to it. Oh. Sorry.
It's okay. So I wanted to see if anyone, I'm going to just kind of scroll through and see if anyone, or if you have a question, actually raise your hand or a comment or want to share something. I'm going to just scroll through and see if anyone has a question or anything like that or a comment. I don't see anything, so that's good. No questions or anything.
Got it.
There we go. Awesome. Anyone?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. It's all right. Go ahead, Blair.
I remember when you were in California, you were talking about the workshop you went to, or there was some person that you was very motivational and sort of, I think she had some sort of like, I can't think of it now. Oh, shoot. I'll message you because I know that this person, I don't know if she was at your retreat or never mind. I can't think about it now, but I'll remember at some point.
Okay.
I see a question here if I could just address it. It looks like Yolanda was asking if I could expand a little bit on saying I wish I hadn't stepped back, and did I think it was a mistake to step back? And I just wanted to clarify, I guess, that, basically when I got hurt and I couldn't do anything, I stopped posting, I stopped interacting with my challengers, I stopped, sharing about my life, and I just kind of disappeared from social media. And I do think that it was wrong of me to do that because I was building momentum for my business, but I was also building trust with people and being able to encourage them. And I was someone they saw every day that was speaking into their life. And I wish I hadn't disappeared, on them or on myself. It wasn't a good place that I was in. And I feel like if I'd been brave enough to walk through that with other people, I probably would have walked through it differently. And then I wouldn't be where I'm at now, kind of starting all over again as far as getting people on my business page and to follow me and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that helps answer your question a little bit.
Yolanda, to add to that, there's a really good book called, especially for people, and I don't know what your situation is, but trust me, everyone on here has gone through emotional situations that have held them back. There's a book called The Gifts of Imperfection that is a fantastic book. And it is written by a woman who has it's written by a woman called Brene Brown. She has done she's been on Oprah. I think Oprah's really endorsing her right now. I see all her sponsored ads on Facebook, but she has done her PhD in shame and the root of shame. And a lot of times, honestly, to be frank, a lot of times, a lot of things that keep us back, you know, why things that we have gone through, hurt, emotional things that have come our way, there's an element of shame in there, whether it's shame of what other people will think of us, whether it's shame of what I've done, whether it's, you know, shame of just kind of being judged. And actually the root of being a perfectionist, for all my perfectionists, which I'll raise my hand, is shame. There's an element of shame in there. And one of the first things, and she's studied this is her PhD, one of the first things that shame wants you to do is to hide, and to run away, and to seclude yourself. And so that is a natural response, is to want to take what has happened to you and seclude yourself and not share it, when actually it's empowering to share. At times you're kind of saying, I'm not going to let this overrun me. I'm not going to let this get the best of me. So that's kind of just some food for thought when you're thinking about kind of anybody. Honestly, I'm not just talking to Yolanda, but anything, when you're kind of going through something emotionally, know that, you know, kind of shame and all these negative thoughts, they want you to stay secluded. Because if you think about it, where is the most, and I've heard this so many times, where is the most dangerous place for a man? The most dangerous place for a man is in his own mind. That is the most dangerous place, because your mind will tear you down, especially if you are not strong enough to overcome it. And if you are weak, to be frank, you know, if you're emotionally weak and you don't have, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, the reason why fear and failure and shame get the best of us is because of there's an element that there's an element of weakness within ourselves in terms of our own self-belief, our limiting beliefs. You know, do we believe in ourselves? Do we find ourselves worthy? Do we, you know, this could go on and on, but that's why personal development to me is so important, you know, within this business. And I've been in school for years. I've been working towards being a doctor for years. And I've talked to many of you, and never has a career ever encouraged so much believing in yourself and developing yourself, as being your own entrepreneur and being in this type of business allows. Because in order for you to be successful in your life and to continue, like she says, building this momentum, continue moving forward past the many failures that you're going to go through. Because trust me, failure does not happen once. It does not happen twice. It does not happen 3 times. It keeps happening and it keeps happening over and over and over again. But it's how you approach it and how you look at failure. If you really kind of see it as a limiting factor, it's really not. It's really something to help guide you and to help you say, okay, don't go this way. Maybe this is not working. Let's go another way. So definitely kind of think about that. Trying to see. This call was Brene Brown. Yep, that's the incredible book. Yeah, that's she has a lot of other books too. Daring Greatly. Daring Greatly, Falling Forward. But I want to see if anyone else has any other comments to share, questions. You know, raise your hand. But I think, you know, Chaundel, I think you really you spoke on a lot of points, especially the part about being your own mold, which was part of you. I think one thing I want to share with you guys is that when I started as a coach, I came in and I said, I want to work on my fitness and I want to help one person. It starts with one. And that's something I want you to always be thinking about, because honestly, it's very overwhelming to think of the mission that I have in my heart, the mission that the company has, the mission that I have for my team. So I can imagine the goals that you have in your heart for whatever your vision is in your life. And really kind of saying, wow, how am I going to get from here, little old me over here, to having this huge influence and this huge, you know, change in the world? And it does. It starts with influencing one person and doing that every single day, making that the mission in your heart is to influence one person. Mm-hmm. And that is, if you do that day in and day out, and if you tell yourself, I'm going to love on one person, I'm going to value one person, I'm going to honor one person, I'm going to add value into one person's life, to one person, to the other person. Notice I'm saying it has nothing to do with what you are physically able to do. This is really important, because a lot of coaches will fall off because they they have something going on in their life, they can't work out, they're hurt, all these other different things, forgetting that our business is everything to do with the other person. You being successful in your business has everything to do with helping the other person. It takes you out of the factor. It's your ability to love on someone and to inspire someone. If I broke my leg, there is no reason why I can't sit in bed and pour love on someone else. And there's no reason why I can't sit in bed, with crutches and not be able to inspire someone else. It has nothing to do with me. That's still in my heart to help someone else. And so I want you guys to be thinking about that, because that is what this business is about. This business is about helping the other person. And, every time I go into work and I see all the consequences of obesity, and I see all the consequences of not valuing yourself and not treating yourself right, between depression and anxiety and fibromyalgia and all these other problems, I see it every single day, day in and day out. And it doesn't overwhelm me. If anything, it fuels me, because I'm like, wow, the mission is so great. And there are so many people who need us. And there are so many people who need our hope and our light, because they are surrounded by so much negativity around them. And that is what I love about what we do as coaches. As coaches, our job is to be nothing but inspiring and nothing but motivating to someone else. But if you guys are so self-absorbed in yourself that you forget about what can I do for the other person, then remember, you're placed on this planet to do something for others. You're not placed in this planet to be to kind of be self-absorbed in yourself. That is not why you were created. And so I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that as you're kind of, looking at your life and thinking, am I doing something for someone else? Because sometimes even when you're hurting, that's another thing I've heard through personal development. Even when you're hurting and you're giving to someone else, that in itself can help with the healing. Because like I said, the worst place for yourself is your mind. So if you're focused on someone else and you're putting all of that energy towards someone else, you're inadvertently healing yourself a little bit. You're giving yourself, time. You're allowing other things into your life, because if you just kind of stay within your mind, it can become a trap. As many of you have experienced in the past through depression, anxiety, feeling down, feeling hopeless, and this is not something that's, that can't happen to any of you. Let's see. I think Chanel has a question.
Yeah.
You have a question, hon? Hold on. Go ahead.
First of all, thank you to Chaundel for a great presentation. I mean, that really just transformed my whole thinking, and you kind of spoke to some of the things that I'm going through right now, which is why I got into coaching in the first place. So just thank you. I have a question unrelated to the presentation. I was wondering if you're on Home Direct for Shakeology and you wanted to change your flavor from the previous month, is there a way to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can log on to your Coach online office, and if you go to Coach, you can Coach online office. There'll be a tab in the middle there that you can change your order. You can also call customer service and change it. You want to change it about 5 or 6 days before your next order date. So whenever it's shipped to you, that's your order date.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely. Let me see. Anything else I wanted to share? So starting with 1, living with purpose. Again, I think that's key. The idea of motion. It's in motion. That's so key. I mean, think of so many times we're sitting around doing nothing. And we're trust me, I've been there. We're oh, that was me before Beachbody, actually. I was what is my passion? What is my purpose? I have no clue. La-di-da-di-da-di-da. And I would sit at home and just watch TV and just kind of fill my mind with all of this external things that wasn't necessary. And it wasn't until I was well, I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to do this. And then I was whoa, all of a sudden this fire, I was wow, there's something calling me here, because all I could do was think about Beachbody and all I could do was think about coaching. And that's when I realized I was there's something in here. There's something in here that's calling me to continue this. And that's another thing about kind of purpose and passion and vision, is that realize, guys, especially some of you who are struggling with, I don't know what my vision is. I don't know all you need to see is a mile down the road. All you need to see is just a point ahead. there's no way you are physically capable of knowing what is the rest of your life. That would be incapable. That's unrealistic for you to think that. But just think about, okay, what do I want to set myself for the next 6 months? Just kind of see a little bit down the path, because trust me, as you start getting to that finish line or to the end of that mile, you're going to see a whole new path, and you're going to be like, whoa, I wasn't expecting this. But it's because God knows and knows He knows you, and He knows that if He shows everything to you, you're going to turn around and you're going to go the other way. You're going to say, oh, no, that's not for me. That is not what I'm going to be doing, because it's going to be overwhelming and it's going to cast fear. You're going to have the potential for fear. But if you have trust and you work every single day knowing that, again, one person, you want to influence one person, better yourself, it's a life journey. This business, I see myself doing this business for life. There's no way I'm ever going to conquer it. There's no way that I'm ever going to finish the mission of it. There are way too many people who need our help, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add, Chaundel?
I think that's good. I just, yeah, I'm glad that I could share with you all. I hope that it was an encouragement. And I hope everybody gets a chance to read the book sooner rather than later. But yeah, thanks for letting me share. I love this team, and I can't wait to see what we're going to do this year.
Woohoo! We're going for top 10. That's what we're going. That's a top 10 team. It's a team effort. Let me tell you,
We'll be there.
Yes, it is a team effort, and I'm going to keep proclaiming it and keep working hard with you guys to help you guys have success, for you guys to grow. Because at the end of the day, it's not Stephanie's team. It's everyone's team. We're completely a team. Yeah. There's no way that I can sell enough challenge packs to make me go into the top 10. I'll tell you that. So it's definitely a team effort. One thing I'll say, guys, is that there's a lot of people rooting for our team, in terms of all over in corporate, just really a lot of support for our team. I feel really incredibly blessed to be leading you guys. I love the diversity in our team. I mean, just look at this. Let's look at this screen. I love the diversity that we have on our team. I think this is what America, this is what the United States, this is what this is what we are. We are a diverse team, and we need more people who look like us out there in our communities making a difference. Because again, all of you have different stories, all of you have different struggles, all of you look differently. And so you're going to have a certain audience in the market that's going to be able to relate to you. But you have to put yourself out there. You have to be courageous enough to lead the way. And in leading the way, like I've said in the past, that sometimes that can be very lonely sometimes. That's why you have us. That's why you have this team. And sometimes your family may not understand, and sometimes your friends may not understand, but be very careful whose advice you heed and whose advice you listen to. Because again, just the same way you have fears, those people are going to have fears. And a lot of them are going to be bringing their own struggles and what's happened to them in the past. So you are all trying to do something so wonderful and so different. And you're trying to be above, you're trying to be different than everyone else. So just be very, very careful of who you listen to. And just know that we are a safe zone here. And I'm working every single day. I'm working really, really hard. There are other people on the team working really hard. So you're not alone, even though sometimes I know this business can feel like you're alone. All right. All right, guys. So I will see you in February, I think. So let's end this week strong. Aim for helping 1 or 2 or 3 more people if you're aiming for a Success Club. But at the end of the day, keep working on yourself. Keep working on your vision. Keep believing in yourself. All right. All right, guys. Bye. Bye.